This is video 13B, exploring frames in serial transfers on STM32 MicroPython and a desktop Python application. The code for this video is at the GitHub site. The information presented in these videos on MicroPython should work as well on any STM32 F4 board. All code examples have pin definitions at the beginning of the file to allow the programmer to alter as needed. As this channel covers multiple microcontroller solutions over time, please subscribe to stay informed and click like, as that really helps. In this video, we continue to explore frames in serial transfers by finishing with a desktop Python application that connects over Bluetooth to the STM32 MicroPython system. As you recall from the last video, our code built a data frame and we byte stuffed it to ensure the destination system can effectively detect and parse the byte stream. Furthermore, we included a checksum to detect bit errors. Our task this time will be to verify our desktop code using a loopback, build the principal desktop code, configure the Bluetooth, and finally connect the two systems together and test. Let's look at the code. We begin with a program that's very similar to what we did on the STM32. So we're going to test with a loopback first, just to make sure that we've got the basic code commands and a good understanding of them. Here you can see that we have imported a serial from the PySerial library, and we're not using the enum like we did on the STM32. The Python desktop code has its own enum, so we just simply need to import it. Next, in the setup section, you can see we have the setup for a serial connection, and we're using the loopback feature. And this is how you do it on the desktop. Down in our main loop, we have two changes here. In the section where we send the bytes, we don't have a physical button like we do on our STM32, but we do have keyboard buttons, and so I chose the letter S, and once we press that, it will send the message. Likewise, we have a receive area, and in this case, instead of UART.any, we have serial.inWaiting, and that's how PySerial waits for any characters on the buffer of the serial port. Once it gets characters, then it can simply read it the same manner that we did on our STM32. So we get a character, we convert it to integer, and we print it. All right, let's run it. Okay, first thing we do is print out a little prompt to tell us to press S to send the message, and we shall do that. You can see that it sent the message of a byte array of hello, which is 5 bytes, and then the serial port read each byte one at a time, HELLO, and we can do it again. All right, does the exact same thing. All right, so now that we know that our loopback works and that we got the basic serial commands working correctly, all we need to do is port the code from the STM32 into this file. And so it turns out that we can use the code exactly like we had on the MicroPython system. I'll Control-C here. And with only a few differences like you saw in this code. All right, so let's take a look at it. I've taken the liberty of copying over the code from our Thony system into this file. And here we've defined the device definitions. We're going to need a serial port instead of a port number that you have in the STM32 world. We have the same initialization variables. We have all the same functions. All the code is exactly the same. And of course, the only difference is that down here at the bottom, we're going to use the keyboard key press of S to initiate the send. And of course, we have the serial in waiting up here that will receive the characters. Okay, before we can run the program, we need the Bluetooth working, because we're going to have the two talking to each other. And in order to configure the Bluetooth, we need to first go back to the STM32, because as it turns out, you must have the STM32 running, because when it does, it will use the Bluetooth connection, and in the Windows is waiting for that. Okay, so let's take our Bluetooth UART module, plug it into the UART port on our STM32, making sure that the key markings on the module align with the key markings on the baseboard. And after we plug it in, we can now plug the cable into the desktop. Now this can be any other computer, but for convenience of this filming, I put it on this computer. And now we're going to press stop, and then we're going to run the program. Okay, so now the STM32 is running. The program is printed out its prompt. It's just simply waiting for us to press the user button. But at this point, it's connected up the UART, okay, and it's broadcasting out Bluetooth commands that the Windows can pick up. Okay, to finish the Windows Bluetooth, we need to go to our settings, locate the Bluetooth in devices, and make sure that your Bluetooth is turned on, as you can see I've done. Okay. Now, your Bluetooth device, in my case, it's a classic Bluetooth device, and it reports this name. I'm going to go ahead and remove it to show you how you can add yours. All right. Next, I click the Add Device, and that brings up this Bluetooth dialog wizard, and we're going to click on the Bluetooth, and when we do that, you'll see our device. We will select it. Now it's asking us for a pin, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll press connect, and it briefly connects. Okay, so that lets us know that everything's working, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, we have the STM32 talking to the Windows operating system. Let's close this. But now we need to know, well, what COM port is it? All right, so what I've done is I've opened up the device manager on my computer, and when we ran all this, these two COM ports appeared under ports on the device manager. And so it's either going to be COM port 4 or COM port 5. So it brings up two of them. And the only way to explain this is that sometimes you'll lock up one of these and then you can use the other. When you do, you'll have to go back out and remove the device, enter that passcode again. But most of the time, it's going to be COM port 4, the very first one. But let's verify it. So again, we know the program's running on the STM32. We can come over here and use TerraTerm, as I promised you earlier. And I'm just doing this just to make sure that that we've got the right COM port. So I'm going to click serial, and it doesn't matter what the baud rate is, okay? I just want to make sure that something happens when I press a button. So let's go press a button on the STM32. All right. As you can see, the message ran over here on the STM32, and we have the byte array on our COM port. So we know COM port 4 is the one that we should be using. All right, so we can clear the buffer and disconnect this. Okay, close this. So let's go back to our code and make sure we're using COM port 4. Okay, and here I've defined in the device definitions COM port 4. Right, so now you want to use this command that I've put in the code for the serial connection. So it's going to be port is equal to COM port 4, as you can see, and it's going to use the baud rate of 38,400. And you must use this port speed because the classic Bluetooth device that I got from Amazon, that's the speed it's configured at when you just plug it in. So you can change it with AT commands later, but I found it convenient to just leave it. All right. Let's undo that. Let's run the program. Okay, you can see since we started with the other program, it has the same prompt, which is press the letter S to send to the other computer. All right, let me just move these so you can see them both at the same time. We'll come out to the keyboard and press the letter S. And when we do, the desktop application is using the same message, hello, in a byte string. You can see printed out in a very similar ways as we did on the STM32. It takes the hello message, it bytes stuff it into a frame, and we get 10 characters because it's included an escape character here. It sent these 10 characters over to our STM32, and the STM32 received it right here, and it's decoded it as the word hello. So Shazam, it worked. All right, we can press the send button on the STM32 and see if the desktop will receive it. Okay, it did. Let me just move this up a little bit so you can see it. All right, so we've sent 10 bytes from the STM32 over to the desktop, and the desktop is now read and printed out 10 bytes, which is then decoded into the word into the byte array hello. All right, that's pretty exciting. Let's do one more thing that would be interesting, just to show you that it does work. Is I've added another command here in my receive buffer. So when I receive this message from the STM32, I'm going to send back to the STM32 the message hello. And I've got a function called send. And how did I do that? Well, I just took all the 3 parts of code that we've been doing here in our sends, build the frame, byte stuff, trim zeros, just copied that into this new definition, and we'll pass it the message hello. I'm sorry, we'll pass it the message okay. All right, okay, we'll change this command and save it. We'll Control C this. Okay, let's clear the screen here. Let's clear the screen here so we can see something new happening. Okay, and let's rerun the program. Okay, now the desktop is simply waiting for a message, or it's waiting to send a message. And we can come over here to the STM32, restart it, and we'll press the button. And when we do, it sent hello over to the desktop. Remember, the desktop is now going to send this OK message back. And so you can see here, first it sent the hello from STM32 over there, but it's received an OK message from the desktop, and it's decoded it as OK. So this is the start of a new concept called packets, where you want to do more. You can send identifiers as well as acknowledgments, and so your code will know that its messages that it's sending are being received. But we'll continue that more the next time. All right, in summary, we implemented a two-way wireless Bluetooth connection between the desktop and microcontroller. The connection utilized frames with byte stuffing to encapsulate the message. Framing provides a managed approach to sending and receiving messages across serial connections, and this provides us with a rigorous method of exchanging data. Okay, so next time we're going to continue to work on serial transfers, but we'll use COBs instead of this state machine that we used with the 7D and 7E bytes. And we will also make other improvements, like changing our checksum out to a CRC16. All right, thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.